Throughout my whole spiritual journey, I have always had really strong attachments to my mind. To be honest, probably more than most people. That's why I know what worked for me will work for you, no matter how stuck you feel. You see, regardless of your mind activity, you are always aware, are you not? There are your thoughts, but there is always awareness of those thoughts. Which means no matter what, you are always separate from your thoughts and your identification with the ego. But we've been conditioned to continuously react to our thoughts and our experiences out in the world. So we get trapped in the feeling that we just can't drop the ego. Because of our attachments, we are always getting pulled back into the mind. Which is why it feels like we can't drop the ego. Attachments are like sticky, they don't want to leave us. But since awareness is always separate from the objects of our awareness, the thoughts and experiences, and our ego, when we remain in this state of awareness, this automatically creates separation from everything. Our thoughts and experiences have no power over awareness, because we exist in a transcendent state, as if consciousness and awareness is up here and the mind is down here, and the body and the world is all down here. But the moment we enter into mind identity is when now the world of 10,000 things gains jurisdiction over us, because our mind is kind of like an operating system that allows us to control and manipulate this body, so we have experiences out in the world. So the mind is always concerned about what is going on. It's always judging and thinking. So whatever is happening in our experience is always relevant to our mind identity. Our body, our mind, our experiences are always changing. So when we are attached to the mind or ego, we will experience getting pulled all over the place. But awareness is always unchanging. Awareness rests in stillness, in silence, in emptiness. And this is where everlasting peace is found, because awareness is not getting pulled all over the place. Our peace of mind is only lost when we identify with the temporary, with form, with the changing. So it's understandable why we on the spiritual path have the desire to want to drop the ego. We have come to the realization that the ego is causing us great suffering. But we must first come to a certain realization before we can feel like we can drop the ego completely. Think about the following statement. Real eyes realize real lies. What might this mean, you ask? Real eyes refer to your true state as awareness. Awareness is true seeing, even when your eyes are closed. Real eyes refers to your ability to recognize something. And real lies refers to the ego and the mind games that it plays. I've used this analogy before, that the mind is like a sleazy salesman. It's always trying to sell you something you don't actually want. But the mind knows all the best tactics and all your pain points, all your vulnerabilities, and it uses these things to get you to buy. But at the end of the day, if you are not open for business, then the mind cannot convince you of anything. And the reason that people are unable to drop the ego is because they remain open for business. They are open and willing to listen to what the mind has to say. We allow ourselves to be persuaded by the mind. The reason that we continue to react to the mind and get caught in ego identity is because we have yet to fully surrender. Instead, what we do is like if the devil was knocking at your door and you were looked outside and you say, oh no, I really don't want to answer. I don't want to let him in. I don't want to. And then you open the door anyway. And then you ask yourself, well, man, why do I keep answering the door? Nobody forced you. Nobody said that you had to answer. Nobody said that you had to listen to the mind. The devil can't just break into your house. He may be a bad guy, but he's not an animal. The devil also knows whether or not you will open the door. If you refuse to answer, eventually the devil is going to go do something else. He just doesn't have the patience. maybe he'll come back later, when you're more vulnerable and open to temptation. Imagine if you were broke and a salesman came to you trying to sell you the latest, brand new something that you don't care about at all. You would watch him try to convince you with his sales pitch and all the reasons that you're going to love what he's selling. But in your mind, you would be saying, well, this idiot doesn't realize that he's selling to the wrong person. But on the contrary, if you had the money with you, you might actually be at risk for being tempted into buying something that you don't want. When I had my moment of self-realization while I was watching Satsang with Muji, I, for the first time, recognized my true place as awareness. But even for a long time afterwards, I would still get pulled into mind activity and ego identity. Even though I recognized the inner peace that was always present, I would still get triggered from time to time. The profound change occurred in me when I felt that I had nothing left to give. What I mean was that I got so tired of fighting with the mind that I had no choice but to just surrender. It's like the salesman was constantly stealing all of my money until I had no more money left to give. But once I ran out of money, the salesman had no power over me. It's only when you get tired of being at war with yourself do you stop all of this madness. Once you realize that everything that the ego tells you is a lie, you stop believing in anything that it has to say. Once you know the salesman is just trying to trick you into buying, you can simply say, I'm not interested. Or you could just leave your money at home and say, oh, well, I don't have nothing to give. Sorry. Don't be open for business, because so long as you are temptable, the mind will attempt to tempt you. See with your real eyes and realize that all the ego tells you are real lies. As Swami Sarvapriyananda once put it,
tell your mind strongly, oh mind, nothing in the world outside, there's nothing that can please me, nothing that I want. Anything that the mind can bring to the sense organs into itself. Sights, sounds, taste, smell, touch. I am not interested in any of that. Whatever you can supply me with, oh mind, I am not interested in any of that. And what I am interested in, the witness consciousness, I am the self, that you cannot supply me with. So you are shutting down the mind both ways. What the mind can do for you, not interested. Whatever you can do, whatever thought, perception you can bring to me, not interested. And what I am interested in, you can't bring it. It's beyond your range. It's beyond the capacity of the mind. You will see the mind calms down, senses also will calm down immediately. When you strongly drive this thought into the mind, the mind will keep offering you, see this. You close your eyes, hear this. Or feeling mosquito buzzing around, the whole mind will go there. Which normally you may ignore, but in times of meditation, in the slightest stimulus, little sound, the mind will go there. Maybe somebody else is meditating near you. I've seen that happening. Meditating, and somebody just in front of me, another monk, swallowing loudly, like this. And the mind gets irritated. Because of that monk swallowing, I can't meditate. As if you could meditate with if everybody was silent. If you were put in a deep silent chamber, you would go into samadhi. You wouldn't. It's the mind's mischief, which immediately takes up some object, either attractive or unpleasant or disturbing or something, and tries to go on thinking about it. No, nothing you can think about is of any use to me. Then the mind will try another kind of mischief. Okay, what is it that is of interest to you? Maybe I can supply that. You're interested in Vedanta, in the pure consciousness? Alright, let's think about pure consciousness. Here are the different theories, the books that we have read, the talks that we have heard. No. I am not interested in your theories, in your talks, in your memories, in your arguments, pro, for and against. No. The moment you give in to one of them, it will immediately lead you step by step into the world outside again. That's the very nature of the mind. Whatever you can supply me with, not interested. What I am interested in, you cannot supply me with that. This is a technique from the Yoga Vashishta. The mind will keep quiet. And then you are free of the mind. The senses immediately become silent when When the mind gets this kind of treatment, the senses are the servant of the mind. They become quiet also. Like our master is in trouble, we better keep quiet.